From Iceland is the returning A10 Player of the Year. For Marquette, of course, a very different team after Sam and Joey Hauser transferred. Sam landing at Virginia, Joey at Michigan State. Zakar Annam has to take the next step to complement Howard, and Kobe McEwen sat out last year after transferring from Utah State. He is Marquette's second leading scorer, just under 16 per game. Doug Sermon, Zelton Steed, and Bart Lennox are officials. Final game, quarterfinal round here at the Orlando Invitational.
This is stacked up to be an outstanding game. Two teams that want to play differently. Two teams that will be competing for postseason bids in March. Very important November outing.
And an early foul called against Marquette. Bob McKillop and company went 24-10 a year ago, finished second in the A10, did not earn an at-large bid in the NCAA tournament, lost in the first round of the NIT. There's a lot of hype coming into this season with all the returners like Goodmanson and Grady. But a 2-3 start and some... Goodmanson was knocked down below the belt. He is shaken up.
Defensively, Marquette trying to flex their athletic muscles early, digging into Davidson in the half court.
Grady slipped in the corner right on the ball, and it'll stay here.
Wow, a lot going on there in the corner. Great effort. You can tell the intensity of this game. You can feel it in the crowd. Marquette, one of the best fan bases in all of college basketball. They have brought some people south. And the energy in the building has changed between Game 3 and Game 4.
Steve Wojciechowski yesterday about what an event like this can do for his team. So, well, gets us out of Milwaukee in late November. I have about 37 today. A little different here in Orlando. Marcus Howard is on the board here in the first minute.
He plays really low and compact to the ground, getting him to his spot, and then a little 1-foot leaner. A.K.A. George Gervin. You know, I grew up loving the Iceman. He would have been proud of that move.
Davidson needs Luka Brajkovic to produce. Collins is swatted by Theo John, one of the premier shot blockers in the Big East.
Great half-court D by Marquette in the start of this game, giving Davidson zero angles. Great block. I like the fact we got another really strong crew. These officials are not as dumb as many of them look. They're pretty smart as well. They could get to Orlando in November. They say, hey, sign me up for that deal. And I like the fact we've got a veteran crew, really good officials across the board, and they're letting this game play like a March Madness game. Physical inside. They know the importance of these early matchups as well.
It was a March Madness game in 2013. Game that Marquette won 59-58 when they were down by 5 in the final 30 seconds. It's quite the rally for a team coached by Buzz Williams, who is here this week with Texas A&M.
Ironically enough, it's all tied together. Magical television. Welcome to the worldwide leader.
That's how it works at the wide world of sports. The Orlando Invitational. As Wojo replaced Buzz Williams. Been to the NCAA tournament 2 of the last 3 years, but everyone remembers the collapse from a year ago. The officials are talking about this. Wojo says, wait a second, I thought it was our ball.
Yeah, there was not a real indication, so I think he just assumed that they were going to retain possession. The official said that it went off a Marquette player. Impressed with Marquette's half-court D. That's going to be a travel. When you turn your back off the bounce to the defender, that is typically a sign of surrender. Great on-ball D. We talked about Marcus Howard's offense, but Ted, we're seeing some great defense to start this game.
And last year was when Marquette made that jump defensively. A couple of years ago, just awful at the defensive end. And early this season, all of last season, really, so good at that end of the floor.
Well, look who their coach is. This is Mr. Court Slap himself.
Yeah, that's it.
Steve Wojciechowski.
Kellen Grady streaming to the basket for Davidson's first points.
Yeah, Wojo made his living on the defensive end, so his team has taken on Wojo's characteristics early.
Couldn't get in front of Grady here, though.
No, transition's a different animal. Shot deep three, which Marcus Howard is certainly more than capable of making, lead to run-out opportunities. That time, Kellen Grady shows you why he was the highlighted Wildcat coming into this big matchup.
Blocking foul on Goodmanson. Kellen Grady, he idolizes Steph Curry. It's a big reason why he ended up at Davidson.
Don't we all?
And why he wears number 31. It's 30 plus 1. Very different player, though. More of a scorer than a shooter, and a different build, too, at 6'5", 205.
My assumption would be everyone at Davidson loves Steph Curry. If they don't, they should be expelled immediately.
It's a big call on Goodmanson, A10 Player of the Year a season ago. 2 fouls in the first 2.5 minutes, and he takes a seat for Davidson.
I like this matchup. I like big Theo John in there. Strong, powerfully built, got a good initial touch. That's going to be the key for him. Not a lot of range, but strong at the basket. Got a great touch, which leads him to a free throw opportunity.
You see John favoring that right hand. He's dealing with a wrist injury. He's been playing with that wrap thus far this season.
I don't know if it was that or the fact that his arm got out of balance with all the ink on the right arm. No ink on the left. I thought maybe.
You want a little more on the other side?
Just to balance it. Maybe we can get the brace off. Got a good stroke, as does this entire Marquette team. 76% as a team, which is outstanding.
Last touch by Davidson. Marquette is fired up here in the first few minutes. How about the hustle?
Again, we cannot say this enough. Important early game in November from a group out of the Big East, and the Big East are off to an outstanding start. Ken Palm rates them the second best league in the country to this part of the season, and a much, much improved A10 as well, of which Davidson is a member, so this is a huge game for both leagues.
Offensive foul called on Theo John, and that is his second personal. So John exits. Ed Morrow checks in.
One of the things, again, freedom of movement has been something that has been talked about a lot in college basketball. They are not going to allow you to block a live dribbler. Both teams are going to have to be smart, continue to defend aggressively. As I guarantee you, that guy, Kellen Grady, will continue to be aggressive offensively as we have seen thus far.
He has both of Davidson's baskets. Travel is called on Marcus Howard.
Yeah, I think he was trying to set up his step back. May have lost his balance just a bit right in front of Doug Sermons. Another one of the best officials in college basketball. A lot of Final Four officials represented in the Orlando Invitation.
Turnovers were an issue for Marquette, Andy, against Robert Morris in a win. Just a 4-point win, mind you, at home on Saturday. They had 21 of them. It's been a lot of fundamental work, easy for me to say, for Marquette this week, trying to clean up the travels, as Mike Jones puts that one in for Davidson.
Well, they average almost 17 turnovers a night, which is 320th in the country. It's an area of concern for Wojo and his staff early.
Sakar Annam with the bucket. Annam has to take that leap. As Steve Wojciechowski says, he's got to go from being a glue guy to a primetime player this season.
That's the hand check. You cannot put a hand on a live dribbler, most especially if he has gained an advantage, as we saw right there. Both teams aggressive, settling in.
And Howard gets a breather. Steve Wojciechowski says we have to be more than just Marcus Howard. And of course, you lose the Hauser brothers on top of that. Other guys have to carve out new roles.
You know, Toby McEwen has been outstanding for him early, getting about 16 and 6 and shooting at an efficient rate. But they've got to get somebody inside. where they can throw it close and get a basket, and they also need someone to anchor them at the rim.
Post touch for Morrow. The Nebraska transfer, he lost it.
Another turnover. Great convergent D by Davidson. Ball in flight. Wildcats flying to the ball, forcing these turnovers from Marquette. And you know what you're going to get out of half court. You're going to get discipline. You're going to get ball and player movement. Tough pull-up right there by your best player, but a guy that has led you to this part of the game.
Here's McEwen.
Yeah, offense is completely different when Marcus Howard is out. It's much more pass dominant as opposed to dribble dominant. Different identity with him on the bench.
Wojciechowski says we want to be more than just a team that shoots threes as well. We want to be a driving, attacking type team. Yeah, you know what Howard can do inside and out. As Lee gets free underneath, the freshman from Yongin City, South Korea.
What you have to be very careful for if you're Marquette, the initial pressure to start the game was outstanding. But you know what Davidson's going to do? They're going to find those seams, whether it be back cuts or movement off the ball, and we have seen that in the last few possessions by the Wildcats, getting 3 looks in the paint.
McEwen misses the 3. Grady with 3 20-point games the last 4.
It's a travel.
So Davidson gives it away, and we've got a timeout. Good start for our last quarterfinal here in Orlando. ESPN's exclusive presentation of college basketball is brought to you by the ESPN Wide World of Sports Complex at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. Last spot in the Orlando Invitational semifinals at stake. Davidson with the 8-5 lead over Marquette. Let's take a look at what's happening in the Bahamas. The Bad Boy Mowers battle for Atlantis, and it will come down to Gonzaga and Michigan in the final tomorrow, 2 Eastern on ESPN. What a game between Gonzaga and Oregon earlier today, going to overtime. The Zags pull it out. Philip Petrusev with 22 points and 15 rebounds for Gonzaga.
Yeah, 2 teams right there. I don't think many people would be surprised if you told them Gonzaga was in the finals, but most everyone would be shocked for Juwan Howard. First year out of the gate has done a very, very impressive job for the Wolverines.
Yeah, you know what you got in Xavier Simpson, right? But the role players, and I heard Dan Dockich talk about it earlier today, the first 2 games here at the Orlando Invitational, how Eli Brooks has emerged. You see the 24 points against North Carolina earlier today.
Yeah, impressive for them. Big opportunity for them and Gonzaga. You always want to, sometimes you overthink these things. These are great non-conference resume builders, but everybody likes trophies. Some of these teams in the Bahamas is going to go away with a trophy, as will one from Orlando.
Step back for Howard, who is right back in the game after the early rest period. Marquette within a point.
I bet that guy's got some trophies, Ted.
He's got a lot of accolades that can fill a dorm room, for sure. Preseason All-American, Big East Player of the Year last season, and of course, Marquette's all-time leading scorer. He surpassed Jarrell McNeil in the season opener against Loyola Maryland.
Nothing easy in this possession, but it's going to lead to a little bit. You get overextended. I don't disagree with Marquette's defensive philosophy coming into the game. You want to play to your athleticism. You want to play at your pace. But sometimes against a team such as Davidson, who is so well coached, not going to get rattled, you get overextended, and it leads to layups. And we have seen that in the first 7 minutes of this game.
Kellen Grady has 6 of Davidson's 10 points. John Axel Goodmanson is on the bench for Davidson with 2 early fouls. Bannum couldn't put it in. Rebound Davidson.
Good strong move, and then he over-dribbled, had to come back with his left hand. And that guy right there is impressive.
High off the window. Grady now with 8.
Love his pace of play. Great cadence off the bounce. Gets him to his spot. He never looks rushed despite the ball pressure that Marquette is exerting.
And Andy, you can see the burst from Grady. It's coming back. Tore his meniscus last December. Missed only 4 games, but he wasn't 100% the rest of the year. Howard too strong. And Lee mixing it up inside, the freshman with the rebound.
Davidson doing a good job of hard hedging these ball screening, meaning the guy guarding the screener really getting out and extending, not allowing Howard to stop behind the screen and shoot it in. Davidson does not get rattled late in the clock. They are used to playing late in the clock. They're a group that is 290th in the country in tempo. Davidson has this all at their tempo early.
Back here at Walt Disney World, the ESPN Wide World of Sports. Davidson up 12-7, our last quarterfinal of the night here at the Orlando Invitational. Glad you're along. Happy Thanksgiving. Ted Emmerich along with former Ole Miss coach Andy Kennedy. Well, we know all about Marcus Howard with Marquette, all of the accolades, right? But Kellen Grady has quite the resume, too, and he has a burst here early on.
Coming into this game, averaging close to 20 points per game over his last 4, and he is showing us all the reasons why. Very aggressive off the bounce. Love his pace of play. The Marquette ball pressure is not bothering him at all. Up, under, cross, scoop. 31 different flavors from number 31, Kellen Grady.
8 points on 4 of 6 shooting to begin tonight. And he takes a seat. Great story in The Athletic before the season. You mentioned how he idolizes Steph Curry. Of course, part of that magical run to the Elite Eight for Davidson in 2008. When Grady was 8 years old, his dad, Rob, was reading Sports Illustrated. He said, "Son, look at that shooting form." And it was an article about Steph Curry, had that picture, just fell in love with Curry. Would stay up late at night watching every Warriors game and has actually met Curry since then. Has gone to his camp out west, back-to-back years for private drills. Oh, Howard.
That's going to
that
be
basket will count.
And it'll be Marquette's ball on an end line under. I'm just glad no one's hurt. Excellent floater, a.k.a. Steph Curry. Right there, gets the fortuitous bounce. Young man trying to block out inside. A couple of big bodies got tangled up. I'm glad everybody is okay. But back to your soliloquy on Steph Curry, which I certainly enjoyed.
It's a fun story. You should check it out.
It's incredible. I have heard about that guy. Let me tell you that I would like to know, and I'm sure there's been a number of articles written on the value to Davidson that Steph Curry has brought. Can you imagine?
Of course.
Just like you said, I mean, their best player right now is at Davidson because he's a good basketball player, and he was identified as such by Bob McCullough and his staff, but also because of his love for Steph Curry.
Yeah.
I'm sure that was a huge factor in him choosing to be a Wildcat.
Howard fouled on the perimeter by Collins. It'll be 3 free throws for Howard to finish it off. Grady got Curry's number since taking those private instruction, the drills at the Steph Curry camp in the Bay Area. Now texts him questions regularly, and Curry always responds. He says, Grady does, "This has gone from infatuation for me to respect."
Yeah,
and
like
friendship.
A friendship. Yeah,
exactly.
Incredible. Well, that guy right there, people may be texting him for advice one day. He's a great player, and he's gotten off to a great start in what is a huge opportunity for Davidson. We were talking about it before the last break. Both of these teams, in Marquette from the Big East and Davidson from the A-10, the Big East and the A-10 had historically bad years last year, let's just be honest, and it cut down on both of those leagues' participation in the NCAA tournament. That is not going to be the case this year. Big East, outstanding top to bottom. A-10, a very proud basketball conference, has also gotten off to a great start.
Howard now with 8. He ties the score from the line. 12 all here in Orlando.
You can hear Bob McCullough yelling, cuts, cuts, cuts. I don't know if he's talking about cutting my mic or
he
wants his players to be more active on the perimeter and not be put in a position where they have to settle for late shot threes.
I believe a flop was just called. Of course, an emphasis in college basketball this season.
And my day is now made. I was just waiting on the flop sign. I'm not sure who came up with that. I don't know why that thing's not trending on Twitter. It is quite an impressive call, is it not?
Yeah, we had Doug Sermons come over and say, listen, if that's what I'm going to show, the palms open, dropping both arms, that is the flop signal.
And I think Doug Sermons has
here we go.
Has extra enthusiasm for the call.
There we go. Lee in the corner.
He did not get hit.
Right.
Oh,
flop.
He couldn't wait. And
look. There it is.
Yep,
that is the flop call.
And what you don't know, look, we're going to stay with it. Look, that's 4 times that may lead the day of holiday tournaments in flop signaling by the cagey veteran, Doug Sermons, one of the best in the business.
Sermons
also excellent at the flop call.
Sermons had another word for it. He used the full term, but he called it's the BS call. What do you think of the new rule in college basketball, at least the new emphasis?
Yeah, listen, we're the world of overcorrection, are we not? The greatest country in the world, the United States of America. We overcorrect better than anybody, and college basketball is no different. It's certainly a situation that needed addressing, but I'm not sure that it needed its own category.
Greg Elliott, too much on it.
Shot prep wasn't great. Good look, though. Cross-court skip. Davidson now in the half court where they are excellent. Little brief respite by Kellen Grady. Now back in the game, rested. And guess what? When he's rested, they're going to get him that ball.
There he is. Matched up with Elliott.
Bob McKillop hadn't won about 600 games on accident.
Grady with the blow-by, and he draws the foul. It's a little more on the flop.
Really?
Yes, it's coming. And there it is, Andy.
One team warning. Then Class B technical.
Yep.
I've had a couple of Class B charges in my life.
No, never guessed that.
They all led to subsequent delays as well. It's ironic. It's ironic, isn't it?
Catching the rest of the game from the locker room. Cold one. Or two.
We're talking about my personal life, but I guess in coaching as well. Kellen Grady gets to the foul line. 84%.
Yeah, there you go.
Sorry.
Took it right out of my mouth.
I'm sorry.
It's all good.
I know you're getting paid.
We're on the same.
I know you're getting paid.
We're on the same wavelength. I like this. Yeah. We're working together for 3 days this week. We need to be on the same page.
That's right. Great tournament, part of Feast Week. Who doesn't want to be in Orlando in November?
Sign me up. Glad to be here.
Kellen Grady looks like he's excited to be here as well. Great start.
He's in double figures now with 10. McEwen,
To your point, Wojo's been stressing it. Did not come to a jump stop at the end. If you don't land with both feet simultaneously off the dribble, you cannot pivot. He did not land simultaneously on both feet, tried to pivot, i.e. the travel.
He slid. Brajkovic working against the Utah transfer Jace Johnson, the 7-footer. And the foul is called.
Johnson did a great job initially, and the officials allowing them to play in the post. But then as the Davidson post player starts the pivot, a little too exuberant, which is going to lead to free throws. Yeah, that Davidson post player, by the way,
Luka Brajkovic
would be named Luka Brajkovic.
Yeah, I got you. So I can help you out too.
Well, I need a lot of help in that regard. I'm not a big fan of no names on the back of the jerseys.
A little old school.
I mean, just for me personally, I need to know the names.
You had names on the backs at Ole Miss every year?
We did.
Okay.
Some of which I removed at halftime, but we attempted to help the announcers as much.
You're trying to help us out?
Well, we tried to help the TV.
I mean, you were always thinking about TV.
Yeah, I knew.
How can I make ESPN's life better?
Yeah, I knew. I knew eventually they'd figure me out and I'd have to do something else.
Howard the scoop.
Oh,
Morrow the offensive rebound and a foul.
for a guy who's had 6 knee operations, anytime a guy goes down in a scrum and his leg falls in an awkward position, I will make a squealing sound. Sorry about that. Howard with a great drive. We've seen him from the perimeter. He's really good at getting to his spot. Tough shot with a floater. His listed height is what? 5'11"?
5'11", yep.
Is that with the hair, or do they push the ruler down to the... Because he is a compact guy, but boy, he is very explosive.
5'11", 180 from Chandler, Arizona. Coaches love how he has that old soul. He showed up at Marquette as a 17-year-old and has become the all-time leading scorer at Marquette. More than 2,000 points.
Tremendous career. I'm sure he wants it to end in the NCAA tournament this year, and Marquette has all the pieces to make that a reality.
Last year finished second in the Big East, but we know about how they unraveled. They were as high as 10th in the country in the AP poll before finishing 1-6 and bowing out in the first round of the NCAA tournament against John Morant and Murray State. Oh, Grady giving it up. They call an offensive foul. Grady trying to clear space, and the whistle blew.
Yeah, you can't get away with that, especially with that baseline official. He is going to see that rough post play, something that has been talked about for years. They're trying to clean up that contact, whether it comes defensively or offensively. Right there, it came offensively on Davidson. To your earlier point, Ted, they were upset in the NCAA tournament last year. John Morant, by the way, has not missed a beat.
No kidding.
Odds on favorite for being the NBA Rookie of the Year. But this team is completely different. You know, they had some losses, some expected, some unexpected, and as a result, now they've got guys in different roles. And Wojo is looking for somebody to step up and help take some of the load off this explosive backcourt.
Here's Grady. Another floater for Kellen Grady. He has 12 of Davidson's 18 points.
If you're Kobe McEwen, you have to adjust. Too tight off a guy with a live bounce. What does Grady do? Wipe it, bounce it, get it to the rim. McEwen's going to have to make the adjustment because Grady is much more explosive than he's given him credit for.
Brendan Bailey from mid-range. The 22-year-old sophomore from Salt Lake City.
Love the ball movement. The ball change sides of the floor quickly. Then you attack a closeout. Some people think, well, you get a defense into help and that creates an advantage. It really does not. What creates the advantage is when you attack a closeout. That was a perfect example of just that by Marquette. Great half-court offense.
Carter Collins called for the walk. And we've got a timeout. Davidson with the 2-point lead.
See how close McEwen is? Too close for a guy that has 18 in the first half in the Orlando Invitational.
Davidson by 2. Last quarterfinal here at the Orlando Invitational. Well, Saturday afternoon, it's about more than just Paul Bunyan's axe. Number 12, Wisconsin. Number 8, Minnesota. College game day is there, and the Big Ten West title hangs in the balance. The winner will play Ohio State in the Big Ten title game next week. 3:30 Eastern, 12:30 Pacific on ABC and the ESPN app. Jonathan Taylor, the best running backs in the country, and what a season Tanner Morgan has produced for Minnesota. He is rowing that boat for P.J. Fleck. Gotta love the axe, Andy.
Yeah, they're playing for the axe. Most people are playing to avoid the axe.
Okay, that's well put.
Wouldn't you think?
I'll give you that one. Here it's Davidson 18, Marquette 16, Kellen Grady, first team All-Atlantic 10 pick a year ago with 12 of the Wildcats' 18 points. Marcus Howard has 9 of Marquette's 16.
As I did in game one, I'm just predicting the future. I think I'd said he had 18 at the end of that break.
Feels like it.
No question. He is dominant.
The skies for the rebound here.
And he is well on his way to 18 before this night ends.
Again, Davidson's been playing the majority of this first half without John Axel Goodmanson, the A-10 Player of the Year last season. 2 early fouls. He's still on the bench.
Wow.
Grady is picking up the slack.
That's a tough finish because he had to adjust it one-handed in the air, still with beautiful touch off the window.
Howard, amazing how he can slice through traffic. He draws the foul. There's Goodmanson on the bench with Bob McKillop right in front of him. More of an observer than player so far today.
Yeah, those 2 early ones taking him completely out of this first half. I would be surprised if we saw him based on the fact that Davidson has this early lead. He doesn't have much of a rhythm. Some coaches sit you, some will allow you to play. I think a lot of it is dependent upon the flow of the game. And right now, Davidson has the tempo where they want it. They're nursing a 3-point lead, so he will probably sit for the half.
Howard missed the free throw, but the offensive rebound gave him a chance at that jumper. He missed that one.
What's incredible is Davidson, who is a past first team, only with 2 assists off their 8 made field goals. And the reason being is because Marquette is over-pressuring them, allowing them to beat you off the bounce.
That's Bates Jones, the junior from Charlotte, and the younger brother of Giants quarterback Daniel Jones.
Wow, Daniel Jones has had an outstanding rookie campaign, and that is the first made basket of this game in a post-up situation.
Now the steal by Mike Jones, no relation. Mike Jones to the rack. Morrow might have gotten a piece of it. And we'll head the other way.
Good aggressive move right there by Mike Jones, but you can tell by that big knee brace, he is not at 100%, unable to finish.
Well, Bob McKillop's team, an offensive force. Early this year, they averaged 10 made threes a game, shooting 80% at the line, and a shade under 11 turnovers. All of that said, they have not made a 3 so far today.
Well, because of the way in which Marquette is playing them, they're going to run them off that 3-point line, force Davidson to beat them off the bounce, which they have done with regularity in the first half, really based on Kellen Grady's ability to bounce it and finish it inside.
Actually, neither team has connected on a 3. Marquette's 0 for 7. Davidson's 0 for 2.
Well, both of these are outstanding 3-point shooting teams. Marquette comes in at over 41%. Davidson at just over 38%. And both teams have committed to trying to run the other off the 3-point line.
3-point game after the free throw by Jamal Cain. Collins wide open in the corner.
That full court pressure, even though a bit passive, led to an open corner 3. One in which Davidson has not had a lot of clean looks to our conversation. Didn't knock it down, but certainly had a clean look, of which neither team have had many to this point.
Fouls on Nelson, Bochy, Yeadham, Andy, and Marquette's in the double bonus.
It's easy for you to say. I can't, man. Yeah, I hope your mom and dad are watching. I want to tell you, they did a great job of reading to you early.
Are they watching from heaven?
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Oh, I'm sorry. Goodness gracious.
I love springing the bear trap on you on Thanksgiving. It's all good, man.
I'm sorry, man.
Johnson at the line. Now a 2-point game. But yes, I was read to a lot as a kid.
Great split right there.
Jump ball.
Great job. High ball screen coming. The defender guarding the screener was extended. So what did Grady do? He split. If he splits on the side, on the opposite side of the screener, that is the man guarding the ball screener's responsibility. Right there, Marquette a little extended. Grady tried to take advantage of it, but it didn't end up costing the Golden Eagles.
Marquette in possession thanks to the arrow. Howard lost it on the drive. Grady the other way for Davidson. 7 turnovers
Love
now
the
for
pass.
Marquette. And the finish. Unjun Lee.
Love the pass.
Well, Grady leads the team in assists.
And you see why. Great court vision and willing runners for Davidson in the open floor.
McEwen has the assignment on Grady.
Now here comes the 5-man motion again. Great curl off a screen by Grady. When Kellen Grady sets the screen, his defender is less willing to help because he is so good offensively. Excellent half-court execution by Davidson.
Largest lead of the game for the Wildcats. There's McEwen trying his hand at the 3.
We're going to get a flop.
Yep. He tried to draw contact there, but that is another flop. And Doug Sermons, you see that in the center of your picture, making that motion again. So the flop is called against Marquette and Kobe McEwen. And we've got a timeout. Davidson by 6.
He wants to make sure that we know. I mean, Doug Sermons wants to make sure America knows that was a flop.
26-20 here late in the first half. Ted Emmerich, Andy Kennedy. So glad you're with us here on Thanksgiving. Well, Davidson got called for a flop on one end. Now Kobe McEwen for Marquette gets called for one. And check out the bench and their reaction for Davidson. There's McEwen. Yep, flopping the whole bench, especially
that's either they're calling flop or asking for forgiveness. On Thanksgiving, everybody is
absolution, please.
Everybody is asking for a do-over.
I love the position that McEwen landed in. He looks like he just had leftovers, Thanksgiving dinner, had seconds, and then landed on the couch.
When you're
just splayed out.
When you're 0 for 8 as a team, as Marquette is, and a team that comes in shooting 41%, 18th in the country entering this game from 3. You are trying to certainly get something positive happening from behind the 3.
Now McEwen's 0 for 3. He has not scored. The guy who's second to Marcus Howard on Marquette, averaging 16 a game. Grady behind the back, lost it. Ball is loose, picked up by Greg Elliott, Marquette.
Love the initial move by Grady. Don't understand the behind the back. As a result, Marquette, he draws a lot of attention. So if you go behind the back in the half court, odds are there's going to be help defenders, as we saw right there. Good deflection. But I hate to spin to the middle of the floor also in the half court. You can spin to the baseline if it leads directly to a shot. You cannot spin back to the middle of the floor against a team as well coached as Davidson. There's not going to be anywhere to go, and it leads to another poor half-court possession for Marquette.
Collins behind the back and not close, but Lee with the offensive rebound. Grady, too strong.
Marquette out in the open floor.
McEwen make it 0 for 4 from the field. Johnson tracks it down for Marquette.
You don't have to do that.
Nope.
I'm not sure.
Blocking foul on Marquette. You're absolutely right. He thought it would be over and back.
Yeah, I don't think he gained possession. The ball comes off as an offensive rebound. You do not have possession of the ball, so you could have gone to your backcourt. Well, maybe he did. Now that I'm looking at it on replay, that may have been a backcourt if they would have ruled that he had possession, which upon second look, he may have had. You can tell Marquette getting a little frustrated. You know, this is a group that comes in at about 70 a night, sitting on 20, trying to force. Sometimes you just have to take what the game gives you. And it looks like they're trying to force some early shots, and those have not been fruitful to this point in the game for Marquette.
Marcus Howard back in. He has 10. The Golden Eagles 20.
Again, behind the back. It also leads to a turnover.
Gets searching for a target. He was in trouble. Grady throws it away. It's the 9th turnover for Davidson.
I bet you Coach McKillop, future Hall of Famer, is telling him just that. You have not put it behind your back all night. You've been the most dominant player on the floor. 14 points, 6 for 8. You put it behind your back the last 2, led to 2 turnovers.
Marquette trying to end this drought. Approaching 3 minutes without a point.
Look at that ball screen D. Love it. That's what I call a hard hedge, and it does not allow Marcus Howard to get a shot off that ball screen.
Now late in the shot clock.
Great pass.
Oh, the bounce feed to Johnson, who draws the foul.
Great pass. Marcus Howard, smart player. This is not his first rodeo either. This guy's been defended tenaciously throughout his career on his way to becoming the all-time leading scorer in Marquette history. Take what the defense gives you, drive it, draw help, get your big man a free throw.
Howard was shaken up, too. Reaching below the belt. Never fun, especially on a holiday.
Does a holiday make it worse? It's supposed to be a thankful day. We're supposed to be all getting along. No need for that under any circumstances. Shake it off.
I've been told I was conceived on Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow. Okay.
I know. More information than you needed.
More information.
Johnson 0 for 2 at the line. Here comes Grady.
I appreciate the fact they're growing closer.
We should.
Good skip. Like the extra pass, leading to your best player. A little short. Marcus Howard in the open floor. And look how loud Davidson. You had 3 guys waiting for him.
And Howard missed it.
There were 3 guys on that side of the floor supporting, shrinking the floor so Marcus Howard had no space to make a play.
Howard's now 3 of 11 from the floor. 10 points. The only Golden Eagle in double figures. Down to a minute to go in the half. Late in the shot clock, David Christensen's got to make a move. He stepped out. The freshman from Aarhus, Denmark, turns it over. It has been rough sledding for Steve Wojciechowski's team at the offensive end, shooting just 23%, 5 of 22, and 0 for 9 from deep.
It has been a struggle to say the least. Great scouting report by Davidson in the first half. And they've done a great job on ball screen D, not allowing Marcus Howard to get clean looks from the perimeter. But he is so aggressive, he is so compact, he is so explosive off the bounce. He's going to earn himself another trip to the stripe.
He's got to tie the shoe before he steps up. Fouls on David Christensen. Turned it over at the other end. Howard 4 of 5 at the line. Last year he was 4th in the country in free throws made.
Career 90% free throw shooter. That's a high number. Here's a guy that's getting about 21 a night. He's on pace for such, despite his struggles from 3 to this point, not having a lot of clean looks. But he's got 12 of their 22. Someone's going to have to help him in those yellow uniforms.
And a timeout for Davidson. We'll step aside for 30 seconds.
This patty melt is loaded. Beef patty, grilled onions, melty cheese on Texas toast.
I propose a toast.
Oh, awesome.
Peter, you're dull.
Okay, this feels more like a roast.
Ah, I propose a roast.
It's now or never. Grab a patty melt while they last.
Oh, and John Axel Goodmanson in foul trouble here in the first half. Kellen Grady has stepped forward. 14 points on 6 of 10 shooting. But kind of like Howard for Marquette, he needs a little more help. The rest of the team with 12 points combined.
Yeah, he's really done it versus Marquette's aggressive half-court D with drives to the basket. Plays with great tempo and has played over the top on a number of occasions.
Davidson turns this over, Andy, because they were late breaking the huddle.
Yeah.
And the Davidson coaching staff, including Bob McKillop, are irate.
I don't know if I've seen that very often. Players have to break the huddle on the first horn.
They feel like they were not alerted in time. Doug Sermons and his crew,
They put the ball
down, and they were ready for the 5 count.
Yeah, as soon as you lay the ball down, the 5 count starts. So you can see right here, laid out of the huddle, he starts the count.
1, 2, 3. Grady was there, and he threw it out beyond Malcolm Winter.
He panicked. He didn't have to quite do it like that. You saw that first 1 count by Doug Sermons was a long second.
Yeah.
They were just trying to make a point that early in the season, point of emphasis, get out and let's engage the game. A lot of times people complain about the length of games. Those are one of the areas that they're trying to clean up. Great split right there.
Howard the leaner, that doesn't drop. Marquette is 0 for its last 8 and 1 for its last 14.
That was the most impressive miss of the night. Great split of that high ball screen D. Got it to about 15 feet. That's a shot that he has made many, many times throughout his career. Just hasn't gone for him tonight.
About a 7-second difference. Shot clock and game clock. Grady against the taller Kane. Lee spotting up. Tapped around.
7 seconds,
Marquette ball with 6.9. You got it, Andy. What do you look for here? I mean, it's going to be Howard, right? And Howard wants a timeout.
Yeah, it's probably their use it or lose it timeout for the half. If I'm Woj, I'm going to give it to Marcus Howard, and I'm not messing around with the ball screen. I'd go 1-4 flat and just
isolation.
Let him work. Just let him work. Davidson's ball screen D has been outstanding.
Saturday, 7 Eastern on ESPN and the ESPN app. Check out number 2 LSU and Texas A&M. Heisman favorite Joe Burrow and the Tigers looking for a little revenge after the 7 overtime loss to A&M in College Station a year ago. That was the highest scoring game in major college football history. 74-72 last year. A&M pulling it out.
That's going to be a big-time football game. LSU. Coach O.
Kind of the new Thanksgiving weekend rivalry game for those two, now that A&M is in the SEC.
All right, get out of his way and let him go make a play.
Final seconds. Howard, contested look, and he splashes it in.
Our first 3 of the half. It could not come from a more appropriate player.
Marcus Howard comes through before the buzzer. A gigantic effort by Kellen Grady in this first half, but it's Howard the hero at the end of the first.
And look, Davidson's got everybody on the team anticipating Howard with the pull-up, but it does not matter.
The first made 3 by either team. Marcus Howard brings Marquette to within a point. Howard with 15 in the first half. Coming up, a recap of all of today's action, including the games in the Bahamas with John Brickley, Robbie Hummel, and Sean Farnham. Davidson and Marquette fighting for the last spot in the semifinals. Wildcats by a point as we get ready to start the second half. Ted Emmerich, Andy Kennedy, our entire crew. Maryland, Harvard, and USC are already through. Terps and Crimson in one semifinal, and USC will meet the winner of this one. Davidson with the 1-point lead. They shot 46% from the field, but 11 turnovers in that first half, Andy. That's what they average per game, and they had it in one half.
Yeah, both teams are taking the other team out offensively of where they're comfortable. Davidson is driving, and it's really been about that guy in the half court. But the pressure that Marquette is putting on the ball has also forced Davidson uncharacteristically into a high number of turnovers.
Meanwhile, Marquette shot just 24% from the field, including 1 of 10 from three-point land, but going to the stripe helped save the Golden Eagles. 12 of 18 there. Marcus Howard was 6 of 7. He leads all scorers with 15.
Yeah, he drew 5 fouls, which he has a tendency to do because he is so aggressive.
Meanwhile, Davidson averages 10 made threes per game. They do not have one in this game as Grady draws the foul. Davidson's leading scorer thus far with 14 points.
Davidson does a very good job off their half-court offense of these handoffs to ball screens. Difficult action. You're engaging three defenders who need to communicate. One of the three obviously did not. Kellen Grady back in the lane where he has lived throughout the course of this contest.
And Andy, that's a third personal on Marquette's backbone defensively, Theo John.
Yeah, we did not see him at the close of that half. You know, he only plays a little over 2 minutes and half, one because of fouls. And he takes an early exit here at half two.
There goes John again. Jace Johnson comes on, the grad transfer from Utah. Meanwhile, for Davidson, John Axel Goodmanson, the Atlantic 10 Player of the Year last season, played only 2 minutes in the first half. Had two personals, and Bob McKillop sat him down. Now a Davidson foul.
Yeah, you're fortunate when the reigning Player of the Year can be out and you still lead Marquette at the half. He should be well rested. And if you're a Davidson fan, you hope that he can catch some rhythm after having sat for an extended period of time.
Now Luka Brajkovic has to sit down. The sophomore big man just picked up his third personal. That's a travel on Kobe McEwen, who had a tough first half, missed all 4 of his shots. He still hasn't scored, pulled down just 1 rebound.
He did the same move in the first half, and it was also called a travel. Off the bounce, you have to come to a jump stop. You cannot come off the 1-2, which he is doing. Great opposite back pick. Leads to another layup. That is Davidson basketball to a T.
Collins' second basket. Carter Collins getting the start tonight for Davidson. Luke Frampton did not make the trip. Best perimeter shooter for the Wildcats. He is taking what we're being told is a personal leave of absence. He is not here in Orlando. Now Collins called for the foul, and that's his third.
Another great drive by Marquette. About to attempt their 19th and 20th free throws of the night. A team that comes in at over 76% as a team, but tonight not up to that standard at just under 67.
Brendan Bailey at the line. Certainly remember his dad, Thurl, 12-year NBA veteran, and on the 83 national championship team, a miracle squad for NC State.
Had a great pro career as well, a true gentleman. Had the opportunity to meet him on a couple of occasions.
Brady called for the carry. 12th turnover for Davidson.
And 6th for him. As much good as he's done with his aggressive drives, 6 turnovers, very out of characteristic. But again, it speaks to the defensive pressure that he's receiving by Marquette.
Howard off the curl, that's a swish. He made the game's first 3 just before the buzzer at the end of the first half. He opens the second half with another triple.
Love the play call by Wojo right in front of his bench. Howard gives it up, runs off some baseline screening action. Makes that look so easy.
John Axel Goodmanson, it doesn't drop. Marquette has its first lead since it was 3-2 just 3 minutes in.
Great pass.
No-look feed to Annam.
Great pass.
Plus the foul.
And a great cut. A great cut. Right here we see entry, get him off the ball, run him on baseline screens. Great catch, great pivot, clean look. Here, off the bounce. And his friend, Amin, not watching, active with a chance for an and one.
Sakar Annam at the line off the feed from Howard. You know, yesterday Steve Wojciechowski said it. The focus for Howard here in his senior season, forget about all the undue criticism that you take too many shots. Just focus on making the right decision, play after play. When your teammate is open like that, find him.
And we just saw 2 great decisions, from the 3 made to the dribble penetration, leading to the traditional three-point play. Marquette with a mini surge as we start the second half.
7 straight points for the Golden Eagles. Brady, 5 to shoot, the step back 3. Howard comes away with it.
It's going to be a block.
It's on Goodmanson, and he's picked up his third.
And certainly that is something that Davidson did not want to see, trying to establish him in this second half. That's a bang-bang play.
What do you think there with Howard and that right arm?
I like the call. I'm not sure he was set. I think it was the right call. And again, goes back to Howard's ability to draw fouls because of his explosiveness and the fact that he is always in attack mode. Same play, baseline, screening, action, timing was not great, but they're running back the other side.
Here he is against Grady, over the taller defender. Not this time.
A little difficult shot right there off a dead standstill with the pull-up. Davidson guarded that action much more efficiently that time.
Here's the freshman, Hyunjin Lee, giving it up to Grady. Goodmanson playing with three personals. Lee. McEwen initiates the break. Off the glass, no.
Going to call Marquette for a foul over the top. Kobe McEwen continues with his struggles for the night.
Johnson picks up the foul, his third for Marquette.
McEwen trying to make a play in the open floor. There really wasn't a play to be made. Ended up taking a very difficult runner going across his body. But it does allow them to establish this pressure. We've seen this in a few examples. It has not been overly effective in speeding Davidson up. But now it does make them play later in the shot clock. It's going to be a hold off the ball. Bailey trying to slow down Kellen Grady. You just can't do it off the ball with your hands.
Second on Bailey. And he heads to the bench, along with McEwen.
We haven't had a lot of inline, out-of-bounds situations. We certainly have not had an effective scoring play right in front of the Davidson bench. Let's see what the Wildcats get. Looks like an ISO.
Goodmanson against Howard. He flips it in with the foul. First points of the night for John Axel Goodmanson.
That was a straight ISO. You could tell by the setup. They throw over the top. And Marcus Howard did a good job of not allowing him to get to his right hand, which is his strong hand. So what did Goodmanson do? That's what all good players do. Takes what the defense gives you and hits a huge and one to cut this back to a one-point game.
Bob McKillop said yesterday, Goodmanson is trying too hard here early in the season. He's feeling pressure, senior year, player of the year in the conference a year ago. Just work on your floor game. Hustle, the scoring's going to come.
Well, it shows a lot of confidence when he picks up his third at about the 17-minute mark. Coach McKillop did not take him out of the game. A lot of confidence there in your head coach.
Elliott's got to put it up. The crossover against Lee. Morrow couldn't jam it in. Here's Goodmanson.
Great look.
Nice feed by Lee to Mike Jones for the bucket.
Outstanding passing by Davidson. Good push initially. Wow, two outstanding passes lead to a Davidson one-point lead.
So how about that? After the push by Marquette, Davidson has responded. Howard, wild shot. Morrow kept it alive. Annam, long two.
Love the inside out. Easy way to get an open look from three. Good, clean look. Both teams continue to struggle from behind the arc.
Goodmanson backs it out. Watched by Sakar Annam. All thought about it from that distance. Wide open. Oh, Lee over the top, an air ball.
Almost as if somebody's left the door open in this building.
Now there's a draft as Howard knifes in, and he draws the foul from Mike Jones.
Terrific passing right here from Davidson. One of the very few open floor opportunities. Pass leading to the pass for the layup. Hockey assist from Goodmanson.
Trail Davidson 33-32. And yes, 14:47 remains, but something to keep in mind here. Davidson has made a three-pointer in 809 consecutive games. This streak dates back to January 15th, 1994, in a win over East Tennessee State, a game in which, by the way, Andy, they didn't even attempt a three, but they are 0 for 7 tonight.
You know what they say, it's always hard to get over the hump at 809 to 810. You know, it's caught teams before.
I've heard that.
I dare to say they're gonna extend that. They certainly have not. Neither team shot the ball very well from deep. Combined 2 for 19, but they both got really good shooters.
And Marquette has the lead right back with those 2 free throws from Marcus Howard, who leads all scorers with 20. Yes, 20 of the 34. There's a foul on a three-point attempt. And Mike Jones will be at the line for
doesn't
three.
count. We're still at 809.
Does not count. That's correct.
Again, that 8-10 wall is still in effect.
Yes.
But you can tell that was a set play running for a flare that was executed beautifully. You have to allow the three-point shooter to land. I think that was the call. Davidson earns a trip to the stripe. Only their 8th attempt, compared to 21 for Marquette to this point in the game from the free throw line.
By the way, Bob McKillop's tenure predates that streak by 5 years. Now his 31st season as the head coach at Davidson. Yes, the three-point line was in effect when he took over. 89-90, 10-time conference coach of the year. Of course, Davidson in the SoCon for so long. This is their 7th year in the Atlantic 10.
He's an institution, a future Hall of Famer, in my opinion. He's done a remarkable job. Picture of consistency, Bob McKillop.
Just recently, 7 20-win seasons in the last 8 years. So Paul Annam hangs and hits. Marquette is back in front.
We've seen that action before. I really like the action. Some handoffs leading the ball screens, allows them to get downhill, and I like that action.
Off the steal from McEwen. Howard bangs home the three.
Great eye contact from McEwen to Howard. Good skip pass, and you cannot give that young man any space. If he gets space, he will make you pay.
Now 23 for Howard. Lee inside. He puts it in with a chance at a three-point play.
Great response by Davidson. They've gotten that action numerous times. Back cut away from the ball. Goes against Marquette's aggression in the half court. Ends up getting a layup right here. Simple back cut. He rejects the stagger screen. Marcus Howard a little late. Davidson back to the free throw line.
Hyunjun Lee picked Davidson over Washington State. He idolizes Klay Thompson.
Wow.
We heard about Kellen Grady, of course, worshiping Steph Curry. Lee tries to model his game after Klay.
Well, why didn't he go to Washington State then?
Exactly, you would think, but he picked Davidson instead of Thompson
story.
School.
Got me thoroughly confused. Thanks for that.
Lee, one of 6 players who were born overseas on the Davidson roster. Howard coughs it up.
Well, he was trying to go to Morrow to get it back. Morrow was trying to get out of the way. Miscommunication, turnover for Marquette. Another cut. Wow.
This time it's Grady.
And that was Howard as well on the switch. Great curl to the middle of the floor. They are surgeons with that action in the half court.
7th lead change in this one. Also 4 ties. Back and forth we go. Now the strip by Grady. Leaning in against Kane. It bounces in.
Davidson's ball screen D-Ted has been outstanding. Point of attack. The big guarding the screener did a great job of giving no space to Marcus Howard. They're really shrinking the floor, not allowing him to use his speed and ability to penetrate. And then a terrific finish by Kellen Grady.
Annam, the pump fake, and the fall away. Now the shots are starting to fall.
Annam has gotten much more aggressive in the second half, as you had talked about. Kobe McEwen has struggled with his inability to score in the half court. Annam has stepped up trying to relieve some of the pressure off Marcus Howard.
Nelson Bochi-Yeadam all the way to the cup. The sophomore from London adds to the Davidson lead.
Great straight line drive. Marquette with pressure all over the floor. How do you combat it? You combat it by driving the ball, just as Marcus Howard was attempting to do there.
Made the smart decision to back it out. Annam is fouled. And we've got a timeout. Free throws after the break. Davidson by 3.
Kellen Grady continues to impress off the ball with his action, movement, the ability to finish, and then right here in the open floor. Kellen Grady showing it all.
We've got all the holidays covered here in Orlando. Christmas light necklace, turkey headgear. Davidson up by 3. Last quarterfinal of the Orlando Invitational, and we also have 2 star guards trading haymakers, Andy. Kellen Grady with 18 to lead Davidson, and Marcus Howard finding his groove here in the second half, up to 23 for the game.
Well, these are the guys we highlighted coming in. They were going to have to lead their respective teams, and that's what they're doing. I'm anxious to see who will step up and make some plays to alleviate some of the pressure, because both of these teams defensively have done a good job of making those guys work in the half court. I think there's going to be opportunities for others to step up and decide this game.
Sakar Annam trying to do that. He misses the first free throw out of the timeout. 7 of his 9 points have come since the break.
Yeah, he has been aggressive. He is a strong driver, most especially if he can get it downhill to his right hand. Marquette has not been up to their usual pace from the free throw line in a tight game. Those are concerning areas.
Now a little pressure from Marquette.
Surprisingly, Davidson has dominated points in the paint, up 18, 28-10 points in the paint. A lot of it has come from their actions and their abilities to cut off the ball. Again, sitting on 809, have not made a 3. That is a very difficult 2. Great defensive possession for Marquette.
Great defense by Annam to close out there on Goodmanson. Bailey to the rack.
And what's it lead to? Never fails. Good D always leads to good. Oh, looked like a little miscommunication by Davidson in the half court. Bailey with a strong drive.
5th tie of the game, 44 all. Largest lead in this one has been 6. It's been close throughout. Brajkovic trying the footwork.
Travel.
Yeah, he traveled. Move that pivot foot. Too much footwork. 14 turnovers.
Yeah, he just could not create an angle. Great post D here, moving his feet. And guess who's back in the game? That's Theo John, who we have not seen throughout the entire contest because of foul trouble.
John playing with 3 personals as Bailey knocks down the 3. Marquette on top.
Chip off the old block right there. He shows us the ability to bounce it by you and finish. And then much like his NBA father, Thurl Bailey, he can stretch you as well.
Bailey was just 3 of 12 from the outside on the season before that made 3. Collins couldn't answer. Offensive rebound, Mike Jones. Tapped out by Brajkovic. Goodmanson left open. I got it. Davidson has not made a 3 tonight in that streak of 809 consecutive games with a made 3-pointer. They're keeping a watch on it with under 10 minutes to play.
Well, they're going to keep shooting them. I guarantee you that. Their 3-point opportunities have been limited based on Marquette's ball pressure. But based on the way they play, you know they're going to keep shooting the ball.
Again, they're without their best three-point shooter for this trip, Luke Frampton, who is connected on 48% this season, is taking a personal leave of absence. So he is not here in Orlando to help make one of those threes to extend the streak.
No question. And when those things happen, and we don't know, when this news came about, so we don't know how long.
Right before tip-off.
Yeah, well, that's when they told us, but
Yeah.
we don't know when the.
Right.
He didn't make the trip, so obviously they knew when the plane was about to take off that he wasn't coming.
Correct.
They've had an opportunity to adjust to it. They have not been great with that transition to this point because of their inability to shoot it from three. But I give Marquette a lot of credit. Certainly they're going to give up some drives, as I pointed to points in the paint favoring Davidson, but they were determined to run Davidson off this three-point line and have done a good job so far.
Yeah, there are still capable shooters outside of Frampton. He's certainly not the only one. McEwen. It's just not falling for the Utah State transfer. McEwen now 0 for 7 from the floor.
Here's a guy coming into tonight averaging 16 points per game, shooting 65% from three individually, 91% from the free throw line. So he has gotten off to a terrific start. Really struggling tonight.
Just find your way to the line, right? Grady making sure that he didn't step out of bounds. Step back, this is a long two, and it rattles home.
That is just a player making a play. Good defense in the half court. End of clock. Hard bounce right to a step back. Kellen Grady showing us the whole package tonight, Ted.
Now Grady with 20 points. Howard. Oh, from the foul line. There's an answer.
He makes that look so easy. He attacked the big off the ball screen, got him on his heels, stepped back for some separation. These two guys back and forth.
Grady, no. Brajkovic pulls it down.
That's number 4.
Foul is called, and yes, if it is against John, and it looks like it will be, number 4.
End of clock right here. Deep in the corner. You should not have left your feet. He's taking advantage of the freshman Bailey, but still made a very difficult shot. Here, attacking the big to a pull-up. Marcus Howard, 25. Kellen Grady, 22.
And Brajkovic misses the front end of the 1-and-1. Still a 2-point lead for Marquette, nearing the 8-minute mark.
It's going to be an illegal screen on Jace Johnson.
And that's his 4th.
They said he was not set on the ball screen. Turnover number 12 for Marquette.
So both Marquette bigs are in major foul difficulty. Johnson with 4, John with 4. You see Bailey with 3. Brajkovic.
Great cut.
And he finds Nelson Bochi-Yeadam for the scoop.
If you're playing Davidson and you are not aware off the ball, you're going to look up and your man's going to be shooting a layup. You have to be aware off the ball. They are great cutting away from the basket.
Howard in and out. Rebound, Goodmanson. From Grindavik, Iceland. John Axel Goodmanson in foul trouble the whole first half. Down the baseline, reverse side, he scores it.
They look much more comfortable with him on the court. So smooth. Veteran leader. As you said, A-10 player of the year. And a guy that lets the game come to him. Terrific second half after sitting the entire first half. Goodmanson showing you if you pressure him, he's got the ability to finish inside.
Busting a move here in Orlando. A game that would not be out of place in March. Davidson on top of Marquette, 51-49 here in the second half. Check out what's happening at the Bad Boy Mowers Battle for Atlantis in the Bahamas, and it will be Michigan and number 8 Gonzaga for the championship. 2 Eastern tomorrow on ESPN. A thriller between the Zags and Oregon earlier today, going to overtime, and Gonzaga pulling off the 73-72 win. And how about Michigan? You talked about it earlier today. Andy, Juwan Howard's club beat North Carolina. What a run they have had.
Looked impressive. I watched them in the first game. Done a great job at his alma mater.
7 minutes to play here. Davidson and Marquette been trading the lead back and forth. Late in the shot clock, Kane from the baseline.
Nice
tied
pull-up.
again.
I like that pull-up. For a guy who has not made a field goal all night, hasn't attempted one. That was an impressive move and a big place for Marquette.
8th tie to go with 9 lead changes.
Drive drift, that's our first.
Oh, it's short from Goodmanson. Davidson has still not made a 3. Now 0 for 10. They have connected on at least 1 3 in 809 consecutive games.
And that was a good look. Great dish by Kellen Grady. Now on this end, a little tougher shot by Marcus Howard. He has made plenty of those in his career. Off the glass, Kellen Grady gets called for the foul.
So again, 809 straight games with at least 1 3. Their last game without one. Bob McKillop was the coach. He's been there 31 years. January 15th, 94, in a win over East Tennessee State. Davidson did not attempt a 3 in that game.
Pretty incredible that not even attempting one, especially the way in which his teams traditionally play.
Missing the front end of the 1-and-1 is Jamal Kane.
The guy who made the great pull-up.
Yep.
You'd think he'd be feeling good about himself. And again, Marquette continues to struggle at the free throw line. Under 68% now for a team that came in at over 76%.
Collins splits 2 defenders, and he shovels it in.
Impressive finish right there. Kobe McEwen was playing him to his strong hand, which is his left, so he went back to the other side.
McEwen, the lid is still on the basket for him.
Tough night. I like his aggression, but he just cannot seem to finish inside or out.
He's 0 for 8.
He cannot allow that to distract him defensively. You can't let one end of the floor affect the other, and he is such a valuable defender.
Grady called for the travel. Forget about the made shot. It's a turnover.
And that is his 8th. That's something that they've also used as a point of emphasis. The old James Harden step back, technically 1-2, and then when he brought the right foot back before the launch, that is technically your 3rd step. Travel. You wouldn't have seen that last year. That's something that they've talked about because of the James Harden effect. He's affected the game, has he?
Yes. Everyone wants to put on all the moves, right?
Everybody wants to do all of that step back in the NBA. That's probably a made basket, but in college basketball, point of emphasis.
You're not getting away with it. By the way, Kellen Grady has his first career double-double, 20 points and 10 rebounds. But with the 8 turnovers, he's closing in on double digits in a category he would like to avoid.
He wants to avoid the triple-double.
Yeah, with turnovers. Foul on Brajkovic.
Think about
John
this.
will be at the line.
If you're Marquette, it's a one-possession game with around 5 to play. Theo John, the most dependable front court guy, most especially defensively and on the glass, has played less than 7 minutes in the game. And Kobe McEwen, your second leading scorer at just under 16 a night, has not been able to score. And yet, you've got an opportunity to tie this game from the free throw line. So, early season, both teams trying to find their way.
Well, Howard and McEwen have done so much at the line. This season, the rest of the team is just 60% from the free throw stripe. Offensive foul. Annam hits the deck. The foul's on Collins.
Annam has had a good second half. He was good
very good offensively with some of the attacks here, putting his body on the line as a secondary defender. And you see what he did right at the end. I think it's key. He did not allow the ball to attack him. He attacked the ball, put himself in a position to make a big defensive play.
Steve Wojciechowski says he's one of the most underrated players in the Big East. Howard fading. Goodmanson the rebound. Tied with under 5 minutes to play. The winner will take on USC in the semifinals tomorrow. Goodmanson on the drive.
Good D by Kobe McEwen.
Bates-Jones misses. And a whistle, foul underneath. It'll be against Marquette. McEwen is incredulous.
He did a great job off Goodmanson off the bounce by not fouling and cutting off the angle. Shot goes up. They've got a grab on McEwen, putting Davidson to the free throw line.
Both teams in the double bonus. Lee is shooting 2 for Davidson.
Davidson coming into tonight 80%. Marquette 76, Dayton 80, and both teams have really struggled to their standard. Now I know it's a small sample size.
Yeah.
It's not like we're sitting here in February.
Right. Yeah, 6th game of the season for Davidson, 5th for Marquette.
But all we've got to go on is what they've done.
Oh, now a turnover. Trying to find McEwen. 13 turnovers for the Golden Eagles.
Now that's something that has plagued them throughout the early course of this season, averaging around 17 turnovers. And that was a good play call. We're going to get Kobe McEwen an opportunity in the lane. Pass a little overshot.
Foul called as Grady made his move. That'll be on Brendan Bailey. Number 3 for him.
And now we're
4, beg your pardon.
And now we're getting close to, if we're not, I think we're in double bonus time.
Yep. So Grady steps up 2 for 4 at the line tonight. Coming in, he was 11 of 13, 84%.
He's been the guy, as you said, double-double already. Confident player, aggressive player. He's had a heck of a night.
This is his 4th 20-point game in the last 5 after opening with a 6-point effort against Auburn when he was just 2 of 10 from the floor. Both free throws go down. 3-point lead for Davidson. 4 minutes left.
I like this move. Give Marcus Howard the ball. It's the Marcus Howard time.
Deep 3. Around and give it to him. Howard ties it at 56.
Sometimes you can overthink the game. You move him off the ball thinking it would be easier for him to get free. Woj is going to have the ball in his hands now down the stretch. Smart play. Give it to your best player at the top of the floor. Give him some space. Let him go.
Howard has half of his team's points. 28 of the 56. Goodmanson offline. Howard picks up the dribble.
Give it back to him.
McEwen gives it up himself. Howard, the sidestep and the finish. Marquette in front.
Great penetration, and I love the jump stop at the end. Allowed him to maintain balance and make a difficult shot in the paint.
Almost a steal for Annam. Bailey hits the deck. Marquette has it.
Here it comes. That's the extra.
Foot on the line. Annam puts it down.
Great court vision right there by Marcus Howard, taking over this game in the last 4 minutes.
And a timeout for Davidson. Howard the big bucket, then the big assist.
He just goes straight to the pull-up right here with the pull-up. Overplaying. Allow him to bounce it into his spot, and then right here, sees the floor, has his teammate open in the corner. Annam with a big 2. Marquette 5. What a finish.
Marcus Howard is the engine for Marquette, and it's running hot here in the second half. A 60-56 lead over Davidson. Our last quarterfinal at the Orlando Invitational. 30 points for Howard. And yes, Davidson, a team that averages 10 threes a game here on the young season. 0 for 12 from beyond the arc. The streak of 809 consecutive games with a 3 is in jeopardy for Bob McKillop. And the 17 turnovers certainly don't help either. Down by 4 with 2:38 left. What are you looking for here, Andy?
Well, I'm going to go through my best player. Kellen Grady is the only guy offensively that has established a rhythm at 9 for 15 from the floor. They're going to give it to him there and allow him to do what he's done the entire game.
Acrobatic move. Count it with the foul.
Explosive first step. The problem for Marquette is you let him get to the middle of the floor, and I think he set it up beautifully with a ball fake. Catches it, ball fake, move the D, attack the rim. He has been there all night. One bounce, up, under, finish. Kellen Grady.
Here at Walt Disney World, you got the Mickey Mouse ears for Marquette fans. Got a 2-point lead with 2:29 remaining. USC will meet the winner of this one in the semifinals here at the Orlando Invitational. What a play by Kellen Grady of Davidson.
Well,
layup, and he has a chance to finish the three-point
You
play.
asked me, Ted, what would you do? It was pretty simple. Give that ball to your best player, and he did a great job of moving the defense with a ball fake and then attacking to the middle of the floor. He has been so explosive, as you said, was dealing with a knee issue last year, did not ever get back healthy at the end. He is as healthy and as strong as he has been throughout his collegiate career, and he has had a whale of a night tonight for Davidson.
They can pull the Wildcats to within a point. He does just that. 25 points and 10 rebounds for Grady.
Love Marcus Howard with the ball. Let your guy do what he does. It's going to be a screen for the screener, and they bring the big up to try to give him an angle.
Howard, the double clutch. He puts it home with a foul. Make it 32 for the assassin, Marcus Howard.
All he needs is a bit of an angle. He gets it there with the crossover. Very strong jump stop finish. He gets an opportunity at the old-fashioned three-point play.
Carter Collins just fouled out for Davidson. Should be noted, Brendan Bailey fouled out for Marquette on the Grady drive before the timeout.
Well, the two primetime players are delivering in prime time. Kellen Grady for Davidson with 25 and 10. Marcus Howard has taken over this game for Marquette offensively in the last 4 minutes.
Howard with 32 on 10 of 25 from the field, 4 of 9 from 3. He is 8 of 9 at the line. 9 of 10. 4-point game.
True to his career average, 90% career free throw shooter.
Marquette fans come to their feet.
Still looking for their first 3 of the ball game.
Grady trying to create. Off the crossover, John was trying to stay out of the way. Instead, Theo John has just fouled out.
You could tell John was a little late. Well, the law of verticality, I thought, would come into play there. Replay will show us if he wasn't vertical, but he looks awfully vertical to me. Kellen Grady continues to attack. That is a tough break for Marquette and for Theo John.
I'm going to say John got him with the body there, but you're right. He was in his own cylinder. He didn't crowd.
If nothing,
Grady.
I thought he was retreating because
Sure.
he understood if there's contact and I pick up number 5, I've hurt my team. That's a tough break for Theo John.
And a big break for Davidson, is the best shot blocker in the Big East. He is on the bench the rest of the way. But Grady missed the first free throw.
80% coming into the season as a team. Grady at 84%. They have left some opportunities, as has Marquette, from the free throw line.
Grady goes 1 for 2. 3-point lead for Marquette. Marcus Howard with 33 points. Pulling up. Oh! Blast off. Marcus Howard. 36 for the all-time leading scorer at Marquette.
Same play as last time. Last time he drove it, got to the free throw line, conventional three-point play. This time he goes to his right, and I really like him going right to his strong hand, to the pull-up. He is showing us the whole package. Ball screen, man, hand down, man down. Marcus Howard taking over.
36 points, 21 here in the second half. His 5th three-pointer. And this is his 19th career 30-point game. McEwen is at the line.
His first point, their second leading scorer coming into the night, scores his first point with 1.5 minutes to play.
McEwen, his first 2 points of the night, and Steve Wojciechowski's team has its largest lead.
Trying to set up a three. They're going to get one. Great defense right there. That was completely set up for a double screen cross-court pass for Lee. Marquette fought through that double, did not allow him to get up a three-point attempt as they're sitting here without one made. Hard to believe. For the first time in 810 games.
And Goodmanson misfires at the line.
Give Marquette credit. Steve Wojciechowski and his staff were determined to run Davidson off that three-point line and run them off. They have.
Again, Davidson splits the pair. So a 7-point lead with 1:18 remaining.
Now Wojo's going offense to defense substitution. He's awfully small right now. Got 4 perimeter guys on the floor to handle this pressure.
McEwen, and Grady fouls him with 1:09 to go. That's Grady's third. The 2 free throws for Marquette.
McEwen back to the line. Had his offensive struggles, but just saw the ball go in from the free throw line a few seconds ago.
Make it his third point. Just like Howard, an excellent free throw shooter. Kobe McEwen now 3 for 3. He was 20 of 22 in the first 4 games of the year. It's his first miss tonight.
You talked him into it. You believe in the announcers, Jing?
No, I don't. Doesn't exist. Final minute. Goodmanson to the corner. Mike Jones. No, and the flop is called, and the technical foul is called. It's the second flop on Davidson. And Doug Sermons tees him up. That's part of the emphasis in college basketball this season. What a call here in the final minute.
It's my first. I haven't experienced this. Again, trying to flare him. Shoots it, trying to draw the foul. Doug Sermons did not create this rule. He is just enforcing the rule as is.
And Doug Sermons just informed us about the ramifications of the call. Because nobody had possession when the call was made, you go to the arrow, and yes, Marquette ball on top of that.
Worked out pretty good for Marquette.
I'd say so.
Again, these officials are calling the game as instructed to do so. I'm sure there's a lot of people that, well, They don't like that being a technical foul, but they're just trying to eliminate it from the game.
Howard's the last player you want to foul in this situation, but he heads to the line with Marquette by 9. Thanksgiving edition of SportsCenter after the Egg Bowl. Ole Miss and Mississippi State, John Anderson and Michael Eaves. We'll have Bills-Cowboys reactions. Also comments from Dak, Jerry, and Jason Garrett. Also postgame coverage following Saints-Falcons. And a breakdown of how Mac Jones, yes, Tua Tagovailoa's replacement, can help Alabama beat Auburn in the Iron Bowl. SportsCenter after the Egg Bowl on ESPN and the ESPN app.
Great close to this game by Marquette, led by this guy, perennial All-American Marcus Howard. He shows you why. The game is close. Marquette not in an offensive rhythm. So what happens? He takes over, up 11 under a minute to play.
Make it 39 for Howard. Grady, the step back, that's a long 2, foot on the line. Timeout Davidson with 42 seconds to go.
The initial call was 2. He was right on top of it. Very difficult shot. Most definitely a 2 as his right foot is in front of that line. A lot of lines on the floor here. A lot of games being played here.
Andy, it's a 3 last year, but now with the international 3-point line this year. And so
it was definitely a 3 in 1995 when this thing started.
That's right. The streak for Davidson, in case you're just tuning in, Davidson has made a 3 in 809 consecutive games. It goes all the way back to January 15th, 1994. Tonight, the Wildcats are 0 of 14 from beyond the arc.
And that has been a huge piece of this game. We talked about it in the initial. It's led to some points in the paint for Davidson. They are plus 22 points in the paint because Marquette has pressured them off that 3-point line. But they have not allowed Davidson to do what Davidson typically does.
Howard has it.
With a chance to go over 40.
Yep. And a chance to break this tournament's scoring record. At the moment, he shares it with another Marquette Golden Eagle. Matt Carlino had 39 in a game here in 2014. Howard sitting on 39 as he steps to the line.
What a night by this young man. And it hasn't happened against a team in which they've been in control. They have had to battle back and forth all night long. So not only is it the number, but it is the circumstances under which he has gotten the number, which has been the most impressive to me.
Missed the second, but Howard does have 40. His 5th career 40-point game. And also a tournament record here in Orlando. Goodmanson short on that 3. Davidson now 0 of 15. And Howard has it again.
That'll do it. The streak is broken. Davidson has waved the white flag. Valiant effort put up by the Wildcats. But Marcus Howard wants to play in the semifinals tomorrow night.
They'll see USC tomorrow. Another vintage performance by Marcus Howard. 40 points. And Marquette pulls it off. 73-63. What can you say?
Wow, right? 26 shots. Volume guy. He's always been a volume guy. Gets to the free throw line 15 times. Shoots 50% from 3. And a game in which neither team shot it to their standard. But at the end of the game, I love the move by Wojo, putting him with the ball primarily. And he took over. Very, very difficult to stay in front of when he's making threes at 5 to 10, 5 for 10. Tough cover there, Ted.
So it's Marquette and USC in one semifinal, Maryland and Harvard in the other tomorrow morning. Final score here, Marquette 73, Davidson 63. Coming up next here on ESPNU, it's UCF and Penn in the Wooden Legacy in Anaheim. For Andy Kennedy and our entire crew, Ted Emmerich saying so long from Orlando.